Welcome to week 2 of the Mountain Valley News North Jackson Press Pigskin Preview. I'm Monk Blevins.
And I'm Sammy Smith.
And we're going to talk a little high school football, Sammy.
Yeah.
Man, we had some great football games.
We had some great football games. You know, some didn't go like we thought, and some did, but they were all some really good games.
Yeah, real good games this week. And I guess, you know, the first one we want to talk about, or first thing we want to talk about, we want to congratulate our Mountain Valley News Alpha Insurance Player of the Week, who is none other than Matthew Shaddix of Fort Payne. 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a big game.
Yeah, had about 150 yards in receiving, and then scored 2 other touchdowns on rushing, and I think had about 80 yards or something like that.
Did he throw a touchdown? He threw some complete passes.
And he actually threw a couple of complete passes.
Yeah,
so this kid does everything for him. So congratulations. He is the Mountain Valley News Player of the Week, and we'll be down there to present him a trophy sometime this week, hopefully. Yeah. So, and then the other one, and if you didn't watch our scoreboard show on Friday night, our team of the week, and I got that wrong, our team of the week is Alpha Insurance and Ken Gann and the Bradley Bunch. And it goes to
Plainview Bears.
Plainview Bears as they upset North Jackson 36-35 in overtime. And, man, what a fantastic football game that was.
It was a great game. I got to stay at least till halftime, and it was a great game. I listened to some of it and some of the other games afterwards, and it stayed. They said it was an even better game in the second half. So,
yeah, you know, talking about players of the week, and man, there's a lot of great players this week that we could have picked. You know, Brody McCurdy. He had over 200 yards of all-purpose yards on Friday night.
Yes.
He would have been well deserving, and you know, again, the quarterback from Fife, Pyron.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name. He had a great football game. He was well deserving of it too. But you know, when you score 5 touchdowns and complete passes and do all the things that Shaddix did for Fort Payne, you know, we just felt like he probably deserved that. So, but you know, let's talk a little bit about last week's games. And I think the first one we need to talk to was, you know, Plainview Bears and North Jackson Chiefs. You know, North Jackson comes in Class 4A,
right.
And I'm not sure.
Ranked number 9 maybe in Class 4A.
I believe that was correct.
That's right.
And you know, not a lot of people gave Plainview a chance to win that football game,
right,
including me.
And me.
And so, but they surprised us offensively, played much better. I mean, well, offensively and defensively
Both
on
ways,
the line of
yes.
scrimmages. You know, the line played much better this week, and you know, just played well.
Played well. You said it when you said the line played well. That gave everybody a chance, you know.
Absolutely.
To run the ball, like you said, McCurdy getting all those yards rushing and everything he did. The offensive line obviously played a lot better. The defensive line played a little better, put a little pressure. You know, he had the pick 6, and there's just
one thing, you know, with North Jackson, of course, Coach Chandler Tygard, and they're in our coverage area. Turnovers and mistakes. Again, you know, kind of what happened to Plainview last week, happened to North Jackson this week. And
I think they may have had, was it 5 turnovers or something?
Yeah, I believe that sounds correct. So a lot of turnovers for North Jackson, but can't take away anything from this Plainview team because they played hard, and those kids were fired up, and they were ready to play. They worked hard all week, and, you know, well-deserving for the Plainview Bears. So congratulations again on the victory, and I know Coach Ledbetter is excited, and we'll talk about the other game in a minute, but it doesn't get any easier this week.
Right, correct.
So, you know, next we'll talk about the Sylvania Rams traveled down to Sardis. Sardis is a Class 5A, if I'm not mistaken. And, man, what a great football game that was, too. And Sylvania comes away with a win, 21-12. And so a big win for the Sylvania Rams. And, you know, we talked about this last week, how Sylvania needs to get on a, you know, start off with some wins. You know, last year they struggled a little bit at the beginning. And
Sardis beat them last year at Sylvania. This year Sylvania went to Sardis and returned the favor. And like, you know, we said, Sardis was a pretty big team.
Absolutely. Had a really good running back.
So, you know.
So a big win for the Sylvania Rams, just looking down a little bit, Garth Anderson had a 68-yard scoring run with about 5 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the half. And so, the Andersons, there's two of them, actually.
Yeah, there's 2 Andersons, yeah.
And both of them are very good. And I think the other one's Levi, I believe is his name.
Right.
And so, both kids are very good running backs. Quarterback, the Smith kid at quarterback is outstanding. And so
big kid can really sling it.
Oh, yeah.
They got a good offense.
Yeah, this is a good Sylvania football team.
Is.
And, they've started out on the right track this year. So, they have and I've gone blank here. I can't remember who they play this week. But,
Susan Moore.
Susan Moore, which will be a tough football game. Susan Moore, a good football team. So, we'll see how that one shakes out this week. Next we'll talk about the Eider Hornets. And
wow, what a big win! Another
big
surprise
win
for us.
Absolutely. Coach Miles Keith gets the win there for Eider, and it was a great win for him. His first win as the coach.
Down 2-0 at halftime, they come back and score 17 points, and I think there's a exchange student kicked over a 50-yard field goal.
Yes,
to get the scoring going and made it 3-2.
Yeah,
in the
didn't
third
know. I did not know the kid was not in our magazine because he wasn't eligible.
Yeah.
Came in late, and so they've got a great kicker that they feel like can help him. And he also starts at safety on defense, and he picked a pass off and run it back for a touchdown in that game too. So not only a good kicker, he sounds like he's a very good athlete.
How'd you like to have one of those come in right before school starts?
And I think they said he's about 6'2" and about 210 pounds. So, big win for this Eider team. They have to travel over to Sandrock this week, and so we'll talk about that game too in just a little while. But great win for Coach Keith on get his career started at Eider, and so we want to congratulate them on him on a big win this week. So next one I guess we'll talk about was the Mountain Valley News Game of the Week. Fife traveled down to Geraldine. We felt like this was going to be a really good football game. The score doesn't indicate that it was a really good football game, but it was really better and closer than the score indicates.
Better than the score, yeah.
Fife wins that game 28-0. I do know that Geraldine got down in the down on the Fife side of the goal line several times. Went for it on fourth down a couple times, didn't make it. And those kind of things will hurt you. You just got to be able to finish those. So. But that was a big win for Fife, and
like I say, Fife's defense, took care of that one.
Yeah. And
their offense is going to score their points, but if you can't get anything out of your offense, Fife's, if they're going to be a complete team this year with a great defense, they've always had a really good defense.
Yeah. And again,
a really good offense.
Pyron at quarterback is just he's a great athlete. And, probably as good a defensive player as he is quarterback.
Probably, yep.
So, but congratulations, Coach Benefield. That was a big win for for the Fife Red Devils over Geraldine.
It was a big rivalry game.
Yeah, big game. And so good start for Fife, and like we said, you can't ever count these Fife team out.
That's right.
I'm telling
it's hard
you,
to, we pick games, and, we always say, you can't hardly pick against Fife until somebody beats them, and it's not happened lately.
That is exactly right. The next game, and this wasn't a surprise to me that they won. It was probably a surprise to me, the score of how they won. Fort Payne defeats Scottsboro, and I think the final of that game was at 47? 42-7. And, man, what a football game for Fort Payne Wildcats. And they were up, 30 something to nothing at halftime.
It was.
And again, Shaddix just had a phenomenal game. 5 touchdowns in the game, and Blaylock had a really good game. I think he was 9 of 15 for 180 something yards. So
all the skill people, had a really good game.
Oh, absolutely.
Penholster had a good game.
Yeah. And the new kid, and I never can think of his name.
Hunter Love, I believe.
Yeah, Hunter Love had another good game.
Had another good game.
And so this Fort Payne team is a very balanced, good football team. They can run the ball, they can throw the ball,
defense,
and they play really good defense. And Coach Elmore has done a great job there. So, again, congratulations to him on a big win as they defeat Scottsboro, and they get the Top Cat Trophy back in Fort Payne, Alabama. So I know they were excited about that. So, next we had Crossville and Collinsville. Crossville went down to Collinsville, and Collinsville dominated that game, 40
took care
to
of business.
13.
I'm thinking Collinsville, if they take care of business all year, they could be undefeated at the end of the year if they play their best games.
Absolutely. Caleb Jones, just an outstanding quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't say enough about him. Their kicker, one of them, we don't talk enough about him. We're talking about Ider's kicker, but the Perez kid for Collinsville is as good a kicker as there is in North Alabama.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. And I think he had a 45-yard. A 48-yard field goal in that game. Of course, Caleb Jones just does what he does best, and he is just a phenomenal athlete. So, Collinsville, another big game this week for them. Mm-hmm. Collinsville, North Sand Mountain, and so we'll see how that shakes out. But I tell you, this Collinsville team, I told somebody, or maybe I was reading Bum or something, I can't remember what it was, and they were talking about, this is their 100th year of football, and this very well could be the best football team they've had in 100 years.
They've had some really good football teams, but this one is loaded.
Yeah, they are loaded. Next game we'll talk about Pisgah, Woodville. Pisgah travels over to Woodville, I believe that's right, and they get a big win, 47-21. Coach Luke Pruitt, great job there. We knew this Woodville team lost a lot of players last year. They've changed their offense and defense. Coach Powell over there, and they're still trying to work some kinks out. But this Pisgah team they're a good football team.
This is Coach Pruitt's second year there, so he's got them doing his offense, and his defense, and playing pretty well, especially on offense. They scored a lot of points this week.
Oh, absolutely. So, Pisgah, they're going to be a good football team, and I think Brindley Mountain comes to Pisgah this week, and that should be another win for Pisgah, you'd think. So we'll see how that shakes out, but we'll talk about that game a little bit in a few moments. Valley Head, they get their first win of the season. Coach Heath Vincent and the Valley Head Tigers hope to start out really well. They did a lot of hard work in the offseason, so they beat the Alabama School for Deaf by a score of 45-8. So a big win for them.
Big win
this week, and I know he's excited about that. Don't think he got any major injuries out of it, and that's always a plus, especially with a school like Valley Head and some of the smaller schools, because that can come into play if you're not careful. Last year, he lost one of his better players for the season, so they actually will be traveling over to Decatur Heritage this week, and we'll talk about that. But that's always a tough football game for them. Next game, you had Section traveled to New Hope. This New Hope team is a much better football team than I thought they would be. Got a new coach this year. I think the third coach they've had in 3 years.
I believe you're right, yeah.
And they've struggled for the last couple of years, but this coach that's there now has really got this team playing well. And they defeat Section 27-0. Section beat them at home last year, and so they returned the favor this year over at New Hope.
We thought Section would have a chance against them on this one, but New Hope, like you said, is just a lot stronger team than they were last year, and they're a 3A school, and a lot more students there than Section, a lot more players.
And the schedule doesn't get any easier for Section this week as they face Fife Red Devils. So, again, we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Next game, North Sand Mountain, Dade County. Dade County came to North Sand Mountain, and of course, Dade County Coach Dale Pruitt is the new head coach there. North Sand Mountain, we know what they've got. Their quarterback is probably as good as anybody as a passing quarterback in Landon Green, and they defeat Dade County 28-26, and sound like a great football game.
Yeah, sounded like it was a great football game. Dade County is about comparative to a 4A school in Alabama, which North Sand's a 2A school.
Right.
They stepped up and beat them by 2 points, but you beat a big school like that, 2 points or 100 points.
They'd take that all. They'd take that all day, I'm sure.
And it is a big rivalry game for them because it's just off the mountain from North Sand Mountain, Higdon.
And so congratulations, North Sand Mountain, and it doesn't get much easier this week as they have to travel down to Collinsville for a huge ball game. And if that game this week is anything like last year, man, what a heck of a football game that's going to be.
Yes.
And then we had Cornerstone, and they traveled down to, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
Let's say Union Springs. I think that's where that place is.
It's in Union Springs. That's
Conecuh
Springs. And Conecuh Springs defeated the Cornerstone 30-26. Very close football game. And so, I know this Cornerstone, they're looking for their first victory as a football team. They played last year and was in every football game and just didn't get that win. Got very close this week, and, they play again this coming week at home, and they hopefully, they get over the hump this week.
Right.
So, couple other games, we talked about the Alabama-Duke game. Alabama started a little slow. Nothing at the end of the first quarter. And
it's disappointing when Alabama plays a little lesser opponent. Duke's, big in a big conference, but they were a little less opponent. And you listen, I had went to some games, and I was listening on the radio. Alabama didn't score the first drive, and you seem like, oh, man,
what's wrong with them?
What's wrong with them?
Yeah. Of course, they had 4 of their starters suspended. The 2 top running backs were out for the first quarter. Their best linebacker probably was out for the first quarter. One of their better receivers was out, and you could tell the difference. When those kids came back in, they really started playing well, and they win that game 42-3 over Duke. Defensively, I thought the 2 freshman middle linebackers played an outstanding football game.
That's what I was going to say. Those 2 freshmen came in, and they looked like, wow, they should have been there last year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they just stepped up,
really
and
well.
you didn't miss a beat. So, and that's what you want to see out of these kids coming in, and in a situation where they've got to play, and they stepped up and look good, and they'll improve each week as that goes. And then the last game we'll talk about was the Auburn-Oregon, and good grief, what a football game.
Cardiac kids are back at it again.
I'm telling you, Oregon jumps out to a 21-0 or 21-7 or 21-3, I guess is what it was. And and you're thinking, man, this Oregon team's going to run away with this thing. Well, second half, Auburn comes out, they shut down Oregon.
I think it was about halfway through the second quarter, all the way through the rest of the game, they shut down Oregon's offense.
Patrick Nix, or not Patrick Nix, I'm sorry.
Little Patrick.
Bo
Nix.
Bo Nix steps up, and, this thing is it's 21 to, I don't even remember what the score was that time, 17?
21-20, 21-17?
21-20, that's what it was,
Yeah.
21-20.
Yeah, 21-20.
And, you're thinking, okay, Auburn's going to drive down the field and try to tie this, win it with a field goal. And, the next thing, they get inside, maybe the 30-yard line or somewhere 25-yard line, and Bo Nix makes a just outstanding pass to a receiver. He gets in the end zone, and they win this football game.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, this Auburn team. What can you say? They found a way to win. Defensively, they didn't play their best defensive game, especially the first half. But when it counted, they stepped up and made some great plays. And, of course, Bo Nix, for his family, for him, he had to be so excited. I mean, his first start, a true freshman starting for Auburn in the only top 10 game of the week, and he steps up and makes a great throw, and so I think Auburn has a bright future ahead of them, just the way he started that football game. So we'll see how that goes, but basically that's the rundown of all of the games from last week. We'll talk a little bit about this week, and I know we're running short on time already. We talked too much, I guess.
I guess so. But we do need to mention the Player of the Week is sponsored by.
Yes, the Player of the Week is actually sponsored by North Alabama Trophies, and the Team of the Week is sponsored by Alpha Insurance, Ken Gann, and Bradley Bunch. So I got those backwards, but that is the way it actually falls, and we appreciate those guys for sponsoring, and it's always exciting to get to go to the pep rallies and present those trophies and have those T-shirts for the players and the cheerleaders, and so I know they're very excited about that, and we look forward to going over to Plainview, and we look forward to going down to Fort Payne and talking with Mr. Matthew Shaddix, because I want to know what it is he does, because, man, I mean, this kid can play anywhere.
Yeah, he can play.
You just say, okay, we need you to do this. And,
And
I think he fills the water
Right.
bottles when he's on the sideline.
so.
And I'm telling you.
We've been hearing his name for several years now.
Oh, absolutely. A great football player. So now let's talk a little bit about this week's games. The first one we've got, and I think this is a fabulous football game. North Sand Mountain travels to Collinsville.
Yeah, this is going to determine who gives Fife the big battle for the,
absolutely.
the area championship. And it could be, like we've talked about over and over, all these three teams, any of them could win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at this game, of course, Collinsville, outstanding athlete at quarterback. I mean, he can run, he can throw, he can do anything. Plays good defense. Huge offensive line.
Yes.
And some really good skill players. Then you look on the other side, you've got probably the second, if Caleb Jones is the best athlete, Landon Green is probably the second best athlete, and he probably is the best drop back throwing quarterback.
Right, yes. He's
so
good.
I mean, it's going to be a great matchup. And then also you've got a couple other players for North Sand Mountain in the Bale. And, he actually started at quarterback last week because Landon Green was hurt a little bit. And so he didn't play, and the kid steps in and plays quarterback, normally a wide receiver and running back. And so he's a very good athlete. There's another one running back that's really good, and his name has just left me. I wish I had my magazine laying here so I could look at it. But I think this is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, I think it will. I think this will be close. I think this game's going to be a close game.
And, either one of these teams, like you said, the one who comes out of this football game, matches up with Fife in a few weeks down the line. And, be honest with you, Collinsville, North Sand Mountain, both are capable of beating Fife.
They are this year,
And so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. And I think the one that wins this game, they're going to feel like they really can.
Right.
And so we'll see how that goes, and we'll pick them here at the end. The next game we got Fife. They'll be traveling over to Section, and I don't look for this to be too much a test for the Fife team.
No, I look for Fife to get to play a lot of players.
Yeah.
And Section don't have a lot of players. So
yeah, absolutely.
No,
there's not a lot of numbers. I'll get it out right.
Fife will wear them down probably.
Yeah. The next game we got is Fort Payne travels to Albertville. To me, this is another one of those great football games.
Really good.
Albertville scored 62 points against Columbia last week, and if you put 62 points on anybody, you've got a pretty good football team.
Yes.
And so, and we know what this Fort Payne team can do.
Yes.
So that's going to be a great matchup. It's at Albertville. Albertville has a new coach this year. Of course, Coach Pruitt leaves for Dade County or retires and goes to Dade County.
Of course, they're still familiar. This is Coach Mitchell that's been there probably about 10 years or more.
Yeah. So, that's going to be a great matchup, too.
Yeah,
There's some really good football games this week. Next we've got, and I'm having a hard time seeing, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to look right here. Where we get to. Brindley Mountain travels to Pisgah. Brindley Mountain is an improved football team, I think. But I think they're going to have their hands full with this Pisgah team.
I think Pisgah will get to do a lot of experimenting with their offense and open up and do some things.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see how it goes this week.
And then we got Valley Head traveling to Decatur Heritage Christian. Yeah, you remember last year they go over there, or Decatur comes to Valley Head.
Yes.
And puts a pretty good beating on this Valley Head team.
Decatur Heritage still got a pretty good team.
And they've still got a good football team this year. So that's going to be
Valley Head's improved this year too. So.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good football game this week, and we'll see how that goes. Then you got Crossville. Crossville travels to Etowah. Crossville's schedule is brutal.
It is when you play in that 5A schedule. It's really brutal.
So we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, Geraldine comes to Plainview. Geraldine coming off of a big loss, I guess if you want to say big loss to Fife. And Plainview coming off of a big win.
Right.
But don't think because Plainview won that they're just going to walk on the field and drill this Geraldine team because they lost. Because this Geraldine team is a good football team.
They're a really good football team.
And we'll see how that one. You got Susan Moore traveling to Sylvania, another great game, and that is actually the Mountain Valley News Game of the Week. Big game for Susan Moore and Sylvania. You know, Sylvania would love nothing more than win this football game.
Get them started out in the
region. Get them started out in the region in a big way.
Right.
And then we've got North Jackson's will be traveling to Danville. You know, of course, North Jackson coming off a tough loss. Scottsboro's traveling to Ardmore. They're coming off a tough loss. Woodville travels to Faultville. They're coming off of a tough loss. And then we've got East Central coming to Cornerstone. And I for some reason, I just got a gut feeling that Cornerstone gets their first win ever with a football team. And then we got 2 great college games that just fabulous. And they are LSU will be headed to Texas. And we have, and we left one of them off, Texas A&M will be headed to Clemson.
Yes.
And both of those are great football games. And then one more high school game that I want to make sure I don't leave out here. Ider travels over to Sandrock. You know, Ider coming off that big win. And, man, if they could go over to Sandrock and get that second win, you know, they could sneak their way into the playoffs.
That'd be big right there.
That would be big. So, anyway, it's going to be another great week of football, and we got to pick them really quick. So, the first one we got, you've got North Sand Mountain traveling to Collinsville. Who are you picking?
It's at Collinsville. I'm going with Collinsville.
Yeah, I'm going with Collinsville too. I think this will be a very close football game, though. But I think because it's home, Collinsville wins the game. Fife at section.
Fife.
Yeah, I'm going with Fife. Fort Payne at Albertville.
I'm going with Fort Payne. They've got a lot of horses. I know Albertville scored a lot of points, but I still don't know what they got defensively, you know.
Yeah, that's me. This one I was a little nervous about, but I'm going with Fort Payne because they have looked really good their first 2 football games, so I'm picking Fort Payne. Brindley Mountain at Pisgah.
I'm going with Pisgah at home.
I'm going with Pisgah. Valley Head at Decatur Heritage Christian.
Valley Head's much improved, but I think Decatur's probably just a little bit stronger still right now.
Yeah, I'm picking Decatur Heritage too. If this game was at Valley Head, I'd probably be picking Valley Head.
I'm thinking.
But since it's at Decatur, I'm going with Decatur. Crossville at Etowah.
I think Etowah's still too much for Crossville right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Etowah. I'm going to skip the next one. We'll come back to that one. Susan Moore at Sylvania.
Well, I'm going to go with Sylvania at home, but it's going to be a tough game for Sylvania.
Absolutely. I'm picking Sylvania just because it's home, and they're playing pretty good football right now. North Jackson at Danville.
I'm going with North Jackson. I think they rebound this week. If they don't have any injuries, don't have a bunch of turnovers, they'll win this game.
Yeah, I'm going with North Jackson too. I think, you know, those first game jitters and turnovers and penalties hurt them. And we got Woodville at Faultville.
I'm going with Faultville. They've been a pretty strong program recently.
Yeah, I'm going with Faultville. Got Scottsboro at Ardmore.
I picked Scottsboro. I know Ardmore's got a good football team.
Yeah.
They've scored a lot of points the first 2 games, and I think they're 2-0. But I picked Scottsboro for.
I'm picking Scottsboro too. You know, they've got a lot of talent on that team. They just hadn't shown it so far. East Central at Cornerstone.
I'm gonna go with Cornerstone. They're at home.
I'm picking Cornerstone for that first win.
Yeah.
You got Ider at Sandrock.
I'm going with Sandrock. I hope Ider wins it, but you step off the bus down 14, it's kind of hard to come back from.
Yeah. I am going with Ider. I don't know, a gut feeling, and I'm gonna pick Ider. And now we're gonna come back to you've got Geraldine at Plainview.
Well, I'm going with the home team, Plainview Bears. I went against them last week, and they showed me that they would battle the whole game. If they battle the whole game against Geraldine, they'll have a chance at the end like they did last week to win.
I think you're right. I'm kind of going my gut on this one, and I'm going with Geraldine just because after they got beat last week, I just feel like, you know, they may pull one out. But I hope I'm wrong.
It'll be a good game, I think.
And then we got LSU at Texas.
I'm going with LSU.
I'm taking LSU. And then last but not least, you got Texas A&M going to Clemson.
I have to stay with Clemson, kind of like Fife. Until they get beat, I have to stay with them.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going with Clemson. They look really good in their game this last week, so I'm going with Clemson. So, man, another great week of football, and we hope you guys, go out and support your teams this week. And we'll be back here next week, and we'll be breaking down the games, and we'll be picking them again. And, again, Friday night, 9:30, we'll be here running down all the scores from around the area and also around the state. And we invite you guys to tune in live on Mountain Valley News Facebook or North Jackson Facebook. And we'll be here from 9:30 to 11. And we hope you guys have a great week, and good luck to all the teams. And we'll see you back here next week. God bless each one of you.
Your dream home is one of the great joys in life. At First Southern State Bank, we know construction and mortgage financing, putting today's low rates to work for you. As you and your family move closer to the completion of your new home, we know that your home is where memories are made and families grow stronger year after year. At First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, Scott Kirk stands ready to tailor the right construction loans to meet your needs, along with our staff of experienced loan professionals. Drop by to share your dreams with us today in Rainsville. First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, all the bank you'll ever need.
Folks, this is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City, and I want to invite everybody to come down here and see us. We're located at 1015 Galt Avenue South here in downtown Fort Payne, and I want everybody to come down and check out our inventory. Bobby always keeps the inventory refreshed. We've got new stuff coming in every single day, a lot of stuff going out every day. Listen, we appreciate everybody in the area coming down here, letting us earn your business. I'm telling you what, this year's been great for us, and every year we get nominated and then we get voted in as the best in DeKalb. So I want to tell everybody we appreciate y'all doing that for us. Let us know we're doing everything right. So y'all come down here and see us, 1015 Galt Avenue South. You can shop us on the web at Twin City Used Cars, or you can just give us a call at 256-844-2210.